Hey roamers, another milestone. We've been living and working on the road in this old motorhome for 90 days now.
On this episode, we're going to share with you some of our budget and our expenses so far.
And what we miss the most about our life prior to moving into the RV.
And what goals we've been able to achieve.
And which ones are still difficult to live by.
Join us on this episode of Roaming with Rosie. Hey roamers, I'm Jamie.
I'm Linda.
And this is Roaming with Rosie.
So 90 days, that's 3 months of living and working on the road in this old Class A motorhome that we call Rosie.
And we've been busy. Each of us have been working about 20 hours a week and had to do other things on top of that as well.
Right, and I think that's probably why the last 30 days have gone so quickly.
And I don't know about you, but I'm really glad that we did this. It couldn't have timed out better. I think if we had done it sooner, we wouldn't be in the position we are today.
Yeah, perfect timing. How have we camped over the past 90 days? Here's a breakdown of where we've camped and what we spent on it.
We spent the first 30 days boondocking in Quartzsite, Arizona to the sum of $80.
11 days mooch docking at Friends, free, and the cost of a nice dinner.
We then stayed one night at an RV park where Passport America discount was accepted, $19.
Followed by 2 nights in New Mexico at an RV park using our Good Sam discount, $93.
2 nights Wally docking, free.
16 days in a city park in Belleville, Texas, $208.
3 nights Blanco State Park, Texas Park System, $62.50.
14 days boondocking on Magnolia Beach, free. 3 nights Tropic Island Resort, Port Aransas, $204.
6 nights Mustang Island State Park, $93.
2 nights Padre Bali County Park, $100.
Total for 90 nights, $859.50. Average of $9.55 per night. The RV parks, even government-operated public parks, do add up.
Our goal will be to average 2 weeks a month boondocking or low-cost camping going forward.
Last month on our 60-day anniversary episode, one thing we said we had learned was that traveling without plans and kind of being spur of the moment wasn't working out as well as we hoped it would be. So now we realized that we had to actually make plans farther ahead.
Not making plans was actually making things more stressful, and then we were devoting so much time trying to figure out where we would go next that we weren't living in the moment, which the whole thing we want to be doing is living in the moment. So not making plans can also have that negative going on also.
Our plan last month was to be better at planning, and unfortunately we're at the beach and it's cheap. And it's beautiful and it's quiet, so that's kind of hard to do.
Beach hair, don't care. And so, with all that, we did not succeed at getting better at planning. And one of the reasons is the weather. The weather's like, we try to look ahead and figure out where we want to go based on the weather, and it's not very predictable here. That's kind of been the biggest issue for us on forecasting our own plans ahead.
Right. The problem is that we're in Texas, and if you've ever lived or traveled in Texas, I don't know if it's just us, but are we required to check the weather every hour before we make a decision on where we're going to go?
I mean, I know it's a big state, and we haven't been everywhere, but we've been here for a month and a half, and we've been around, quite a bit, and it just seems like the weather report changes every hour.
Right.
Like, not the weather changing every hour, the forecast changes every hour, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's get back to the making plans deal.
The other issue is what can go wrong when you really don't investigate where you plan on heading next. Now, we plan to go further south and beach camp near Corpus Christi, and we've seen a lot of YouTube videos about free camping there.
Yeah, luckily we grabbed a spot at an RV park using our Passport America discount, And that gave us some time to scope out that whole beach situation.
And we didn't realize that, unlike Magnolia Beach, where you can camp for 14 days for free, here in near Corpus Christi, you can only camp 3 days on the beach in a 21-day period, and you have to buy a permit.
We've discovered that at this time of year, the wind is almost constant, which wasn't a huge problem on Magnolia Beach because the surface of that beach is crushed shell and it's a very solid surface.
Yeah, and the sand further south near Corpus Christi is what they call sugar sand, so it's very fine and very soft. It's almost like walking on flour. But the one thing that's really bad about it is if you're sweaty or you have anything, lotion or anything on you, it just sticks to you.
Yeah, we've figured out that when you come off the beach, you're kind of like a fine sandpaper.
Right.
And that is not ideal for RVs. The sand gets in everywhere.
Yeah, and the other issue, something that we didn't even really think about, is we're already having problems with rust, and we've only been down in this area for 3 weeks.
Yeah, like the chains and gears on our bikes completely rusted up already, to the point where on my bike, part of it came apart already, and we don't know if the rust caused that or if something inside from it being on the back of the RV while we were driving. I don't know, but the cost of repair was more than just replacing it with another cheap bike.
Yeah, and that's what we ended up doing. We ended up purchasing a new bike, and then we took the old bike to a bike shop in Corpus Christi where they were actually going to do the repairs, and then they were going to give it to, they have a charity that they associate with, and they're just going to give the bike to someone.
Yeah, so that was the best thing, to just move on. The other thing we're dealing with rust, besides our gravity chairs, zero gravity chairs, they're all rusty. Our beach chairs that we've taken to the beach a million times, they got all rusty already.
Right.
And the hinges on the door that goes in and out of the RV, it makes this horrific squeaking sound now.
Right.
And you tried putting some WD-40 on it.
I sprayed WD-40 on it, and it did help, but it's not the appropriate thing. Linda's brother, you can go ahead and tell him.
Well, my brother lives, and I've mentioned it before, but he lives on the East Coast, right at the beach in Florida. And I kind of called him and said, what do you do about all this stuff? And he said, well, you don't use WD-40.
No, and I actually looked it up online, how to stop rust and those things. And basically, you just need to get rust inhibitor. There's a few different companies that make rust inhibitor. So we're just going to pick some of that up and spray it on there. And that'll help lubricate, but also stop the rust.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. If you have any advice for us desert dwellers on how to avoid rust, please put them down in the comments below.
Yeah, we'd really love to hear it, because our experience is more about how to survive in the dry heat of the Sonoran Desert, where we lived for 25 years. And we learned some really valuable lessons, like don't keep your Barbie collection in a cabinet in the garage or they'll melt.
That's her Barbie collection, by the way, not mine.
Not anymore.
Right.
We had a really good time recently. Our friends Aaron and Tina from the YouTube channel Jones Into Travel came down and met up with us for several days while we were in Magnolia Beach.
And Aaron is also known as the Mobile RV Tech. And you can see him on some of our previous videos where we did installs on the solar and also on our power upgrade.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so that set of panels is done.
So this was supposed to be a much needed vacation for Aaron, but on the second day, I'm walking between our RVs and I see Jamie and Aaron sitting back on the ground by our basement RV. And I saw them there a little while later with boxes and tools. So at this point I go, okay, what are you guys doing? And Jamie says, well, you know how we talked about getting the soft starts for our basement AC so that it wouldn't use so much power every time it started. That way we can still boondock with our solar during the summer and it won't use that much power. So I go, okay. And Jamie says, well, Aaron said he had a couple extra of these and he's just going to help me install them. And I thought, well, this was supposed to be Aaron's vacation. And at that point, Tina chimes in and says, don't worry, this is how Aaron likes to spend his vacation. Well, at least now I don't feel bad about Aaron's vacation, but I'm also thinking we didn't really budget to add that right now or decide that's what we were going to add right now. And then Jamie and Aaron decided to add some other equipment while they were vacationing.
Hopefully it will save us money so we won't have to stay in expensive campgrounds, because this summer we're going to spend a lot of time out in the West.
So something else, here's a tip about boondocking etiquette. When you have a vast area to park in, like Magnolia Beach, I think it's 1.5 miles, don't be this guy. We were camped next to some people close enough to where it looked like we might be camping together, but we were equally distanced from a few RVs on either side of us. And this guy shows up and parks right between the two of us.
Obviously he didn't know it was wrong. And we thought he was just going to be there for one night, and then a week later this guy was still there.
Yeah, we were long gone when Aaron and Tina came. We just moved down the beach, but every day I'd walk down the beach and go, he's still there. Like he just didn't know, I guess.
Right. Another thing that we learned that they do different in Texas is predictions.
You mean like the future?
Kind of. I mean, we've already talked about the weather and how they can't predict that, but also the tides. So you might as well just go to a psychic for that. Now, us both growing up in Southern California, living near the Pacific Ocean, we knew when the tides were going in and going out. So this kind of just baffled us.
Yeah, you could look ahead a month, and it was always very accurate. Yeah. So.
Right. And here they don't have a clue.
So I had to look into it. So it turns out that the Gulf of Mexico's tidal range is the smallest in the world. Because the basin is so abnormally shaped, a shoreline can sometimes have 2 high tides in a day and 2 low tides in a day, or some days it can just have one of each.
And some days it comes all the way up to the dunes, and other days it only varies by inches.
And getting back to the weather again, because I said I would, right? I've got to say it again because it makes you feel like you can't remember the forecast. The other morning it was forecast to be cloudy and windy in the morning.
Right, but when we wake up it's sunny and light breezes. So we make our plan, we plan for the day, we go out, and about 3 hours later it's almost blowing Rosie over, but no sign of any clouds.
Yesterday we were running errands, and so we were listening to the radio in the car, and the weather forecast changed. Every time we got in the car, we heard a different forecast for the day.
We keep trying to plan ahead and reserve campgrounds, but then life just forces us back in to go with the flow.
Yeah, so those of you who are full-time or most-time RVers, like how rigid are the plans that you make? We would love to hear it. So if you have an idea that would help us or help some of our other followers here, if you would just put your answer down in the comments, we would appreciate it.
The other big challenge is we're trying to continue to maintain our healthy eating habit. Now, especially when we're in tourist destinations, there's a lot of nice restaurants, really cool looking restaurants, that we really like to go in and test them out.
Yeah, we're really struggling at the moment. It was so much easier to maintain healthy eating when we had a routine, and we still don't have any kind of routine in this lifestyle.
Right, and technically we're not on vacation. This is how we live, so sometimes it's depressing just eating that same old healthy diet.
Right, even when we know how much better we feel when we eat the right way, it can feel really boring sometimes. It is easier to find all the fresh food that we like to prepare when we're near bigger cities, because at least we can find all of the ingredients. And just an update, I know we're filling in things on the monthly budget. Our monthly budget for food is about $800, and we've been able to manage on that. But we'll give you more details and the specifics of that on our 6-month episode.
And if you want to watch that, you want to make sure and subscribe, and also make sure to ring the bell.
And that way your YouTube feed will alert you each time that we upload a new video, and you won't miss it. Healthy eating or following a healthy diet is always a challenge in the long run, but doing it while living this life on the road, it's really a lot more difficult.
Add to that the price of groceries, which has had incredible increase since 2020.
We'll definitely dive into this on a future episode. We are not on the same diet, by the way, and so we've got budget for what we eat, how we eat, and everything, and that will be a whole episode in itself.
Besides camping fees, another huge cost factor is fuel. Now, we've already told you how we've camped thus far, but what we've decided to do is stay in a small geographical area, which has also helped cut our fuel costs.
Yeah, we've been in the Southeast Texas area for over a month now, but back in March, when fuel, at least for diesel, soared way over $5 a gallon, it really just stopped us in our tracks.
So we decided to spend more time exploring this area instead of heading over to the East Coast.
In total, since leaving our home in January, we have covered 2,031 miles in the RV. At about 8 miles per gallon, that's 254 gallons. And at an average of $5 per gallon, that cost added up to $1,270 spent on RV fuel over 3 months. That's over $400 a month in fuel just for the RV. All day trips have been in the towed, and we'll cover that more in a later episode. Our first 90 days has been pretty smooth so far. We're pretty used to it, mostly loving it, even though we still can't get the planning thing right.
Some of you who are new to this lifestyle or getting ready to live this lifestyle have asked about some type of coping strategies.
Right, and the one thing I can say is that the emotions and the feelings that you have going into this lifestyle, or if you've just started it, they're valid. So the best thing that you can do is just acknowledge your feelings and don't worry about trying to change them. Don't beat yourself up for having them. There's nothing wrong with having those feelings that will come up about what have I done? Why did I do this?
And because a lot of you will miss your prior life, and you will feel like you're missing out on things, and that's okay.
Just acknowledge it. And if you think about it, I bet a lot of your friends and family wish they could trade places with you.
While we were stuck in the house during the worst part of COVID, we all learned how to stay connected through technology. The investment in equipment that we made to be able to stay connected with friends and family as well as my business was well worth it.
In the coming months, we're going to trade the beaches and the sea breezes of where we are now for cooler mountain country, trying to avoid areas with red flag warnings, which is fire weather, and that's most likely what's going to determine where we go this summer.
And we'll share the places that we've been to help you to decide where you want to travel next, and we also have a lot of travel videos to share with you.
Hey roamers, have you heard what's happened for this channel? We've grown big enough, thanks to you, to have our very own storefront on Amazon.
On there you'll find some of the products and equipment we use and recommend on our videos.
Plus you can support Roaming with Rosie simply by doing your everyday Amazon shopping using one of our links.
We only recommend specific products we use and approve of as participants in the Amazon Associates program and other affiliate partnership programs.
Sometimes we do earn a small commission when you purchase using our links and codes found in the descriptions of our videos and on our website.
And we're able to share with you deals and discounts through those links.
We want you to know that we're thankful for each and every one of you for watching and sharing our videos with your family and friends.
And if you're not yet a subscriber, make sure and hit that subscribe button.
And ring that bell so you'll be notified each time we put out a new video.
And make sure to leave a comment, that way you can be part of the conversation.
Until next time,
See ya.